Welcome back to My Life on a GLP-1. I'm your host, Scott Johnson, and as always, I'm joined by the fantastic Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here. I feel like we have something special to talk about today. You've been hinting at a big milestone.
We do. But before we get to that, I want to take you back to the beginning. Do you remember that specific kind of podcaster humiliation when you first start out?
Oh, I know it well. You hit publish and then you just stare at the analytics page, praying for the number to go up.
Exactly. I remember finishing episode 3, clicking upload, and then refreshing like a maniac. It was like my first post on TikTok, wondering when I will go viral. One download, then two, and then the crushing realization that one of them was me, checking my own link.
Oh no. So who was the other one?
It was probably my mom. I'm convinced she was looking for a pulled pork recipe online, stumbled onto the podcast, and got 20 minutes into a deep dive on Zepbound side effects before she knew what was happening.
A pulled pork recipe. That is the most specific, hilarious, and believable origin story I have ever heard.
Well, fast forward from those humble beginnings, and this is the milestone I wanted to share. As of this week, the My Life on a GLP-1 podcast has been downloaded, wait for it, 50,000 times.
Wow. Scott, that's incredible. 50,000. That's not just a number, that's a stadium full of people at a Taylor Swift concert.
It really is. And it's so much more than a vanity metric. What it represents is 50,000 moments where a real person on a commute or walking their dog chose to press play on a conversation about what this journey actually feels like.
Right? Not the clinical, sterile version, the messy, honest, and sometimes very funny version. That isn't a metric. That's a community.
It tells me the conversation people needed wasn't being had loudly enough. I mean, let's be honest, I didn't start this podcast because I had answers. I started it because I had questions.
The uncomfortable ones.
The really uncomfortable ones, like about poop. And why does losing weight change how people treat you? And why is that so emotionally complicated? Or why does the relentless food noise in your brain just stop? And why does that silence feel so weird at first?
And why does success sometimes come with a side of guilt instead of pure celebration? You can't find those answers in a medical journal.
You find them in the pharmacy parking lot or a dressing room you've avoided for years. That's the podcast I needed, so it's the one I made. And the most unexpected thing happened. The emails started coming in.
That must have been amazing. What did they say?
Messages like, I thought I was the only one feeling this, or you described exactly what I couldn't explain to my doctor. Those messages are worth more than any download number. It proves people aren't just looking for medical information. They're looking for validation.
Exactly. They have doctors and Google for the data. They need to hear someone who's lived it say, yes, this part is weird and hard, and that's okay. That lived experience is irreplaceable.
Right. Clinical data tells you what's possible. Real stories tell you what it feels like. When it is okay to just have a conversation about poop, or when you're having a meltdown in a fitting room because pants fit for the first time in years and you're not sure if you're happy or terrified. You don't need a journal article. You need to hear, that happened to me too.
And you need to be able to laugh about it. That's the other thing. Honesty and humor go hand in hand on this journey. Some of the most profound moments are when you're laughing at the absurd indignities of it all.
Absolutely. When you learn that someone else has had to explain let's say, a suspicious bathroom situation to a coworker, the relief is immediate. Laughter cuts through the shame.
It really does. And all of this, the good, the bad, the weird, it all started with you just being willing to show up imperfectly and talk. The early audio wasn't perfect, your delivery has evolved, but the core honesty that you delivered, well, it was always there.
Thank you for saying that. It's true. The goal was never to be perfect. It was just to share something small, specific, and true each week. And 50,000 times, people found that it was worth their time. That's what this milestone really means to me. These stories do not replace medical guidance, they sit alongside it. They make the clinical information feel livable because someone has already walked the path and reported back with honesty. And where warranted, a genuinely good story about something that went sideways in a very specific way.
And it's why this conversation has to keep going. As these medications become more common, the cultural noise around them is getting louder. The signal, the real stories from the inside, matters more than ever.
I couldn't agree more. So, to everyone listening, if you've ever downloaded a single episode, shared it with a friend, or just sat in your driveway to finish a thought with us, you are part of this number. Thank you. 50,000 is proof that honesty travels and that people feel seen here.
It's proof that we're all in this together, we're just getting started. I want to say thank you for bringing me along this journey, Scott. I hope each of our listeners will take a moment and pause to celebrate their own path along with us, share our podcast, drop us an email, or just leave a comment saying thank you for showing up. Tell us, Scott, any final celebratory thoughts you want to share today?
Thanks, Sarah. And most importantly, thank you for being at my side over the last year and a half. This podcast that began with me recording into a void, wondering if the only listener was a mom who was looking for a pulled pork recipe, has grown into something I genuinely did not see coming. And the next 50,000 downloads will carry stories I have not told yet, questions I have not asked yet, and conversations with people who are just beginning to understand that they are absolutely not alone in this. So, on behalf of Sarah, I send out my heartfelt thanks to all of you. Cheers to what comes next. We will be taking next week off for a little vacation, but promise to return. So be sure to follow the show to be notified of the latest episodes. During our break, I encourage you to get a copy of my book on Amazon or Kindle and take time to celebrate your own accomplishments. Thanks for tuning in, and always remember to love your journey.